Yeah, this is my seventh year of college.
So you
So
are
that's
you, you you've really done it. You are a person,
yep.
when you talk about the journey, some people joke around in the old days about, spending
hmm
7 years in college. You have done it.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. Uh, Definitely being nicknamed Grandpa nowadays. But yeah, I was one of the fortunate athletes to kind of start college when COVID was happening. Well, fortunate and unfortunate in some eyes, but my first 2 years of college at Iowa Western in Council Bluffs, Iowa. First year was COVID. Our season got banged within like the first, I think, like 7 games of the season. That season got completely given back to us from junior college. And then my sophomore year, I actually broke my hamate bone in my hand in March. So, like, right when the season was starting. And I was able to get a med red that year. So instantly got 2 years back. The first 2 years of college, I got those 2 years back. And then I transferred from there to East Carolina University and was there for a summer and a fall, and then transferred back here to Omaha in the wintertime. So I wasn't eligible to play because I transferred from a Division One to a Division One. And so then I declared a red shirt that year and got it granted. So then my first 3 years of college I got back. So I've just been like right now this is technically like my senior year of playing experience, I'd say. So after that third year of college, that fourth year was like my senior year of college, but I was really a freshman eligibility wise, which is just crazy to think about. Um, so I'm like, I've had like the true 4 years of kind of developing, but I had the first 3 years of college, I really kind of just took as like a learning experience and just kind of like I was mature enough after those 3 years that the knowledge that I had to start my freshman year was kind of interesting. And I think I'm probably one of the oldest baseball players to, or probably one of the only baseball players to have a seventh year of college, I assume.
Timing's a weird thing, and little would you have known that, your actual sophomore year athletically, which is really like your fifth year of college, is where
hmm
this breakout really happens, where most people
Yeah.
would have already been graduated.
Yep. Yeah, it definitely was difficult for me in the moment to kind of process because that first year that I really played at Omaha, I struggled and I didn't start off the way that I wanted to. We went out to UCLA and went out to Fresno State for the first 2 weekends of our season, and those like 2 weeks, I expected to be like because I was already in my fourth year of college, so I expected to be like a team leader and kind of come into the Omaha program and really like make a big impact. And so me going into my fourth year of college, but really it was my first year of experience at a Division One. Like struggling the first couple weeks was really tough for me to process. But then after looking back, I've really had quite a normal stretch of like the last 3 years that I played. Because if I think about that freshman year or that fourth year of college that I had was really my freshman year of college in like experience wise. Um, so if I think about it like that, like my freshman year was a good learning year, was like a good like experience year, like going on the road and playing UCLA and Fresno State and staying in hotels, and I had done all that before, but never at the Division One level. And so experiencing that and kind of like stepping back and being like, hey, this is my first real year of playing Division One baseball. Like I put a lot of pressure on myself as a older guy. Um, and looking back, I wish that I would have kind of given myself a little bit of a break and been like, hey, it's not that big of a deal. like this is a learning experience. But yeah, it's fortunately it's worked out for the better, I think. And I've definitely had a lot of learning experiences over many years that I've been in college baseball.
What's the worst slump you've had in your whole whole run?
Ooh, I would say that first year at Omaha, the first 2 weekends, I got in such a bad slump that like I went up to the plate and I was swinging at everything, and like the ball baseball looked like a golf ball, but I saw it and I would swing anyway, and so luckily the coaches took me out of the games because I was at that point I had been striking out like every at bat that I went up, and we were at UCLA, and I actually got like I got my first hit at UCLA, and then after that, I think the last game that we played at UCLA, I went like 0 for 3 with two strikeouts, and then we went to Fresno State, and the first game I went 0 for 2 with two strikeouts and got pulled in the middle of the game, and then they put me back in for the second game at Fresno State, and I think I started the game 0 for 2 again with two strikeouts. And and then they pulled me again. So that was just, that was probably the lowest that I've been, slump wise, and just like frustration. And I was, I was in my head so much about like at that point, uh, I was like, I don't want to go up to bat because I know I'm going to strike out. And I hadn't had that experience to overcome the negative talk in my head yet. Um, and so that was another huge learning uh, story for me because like I had never, I just kept beating myself up. And then I would complain about the coaches not playing me, but realistically, like I shouldn't have been in the lineup. And that year we had Devin Hurdle at shortstop, and he hit like 380 for us that year at shortstop. We had Mike Bovey at third base, and he was a second round draft pick with the Brewers. So, like, we had guys out there that were playing in front of me that were doing really well. And so, at that point in like that year, I didn't really understand why I wasn't playing. But now I look back and I'm like, I really didn't contribute at all. I was hurting us those like first couple weeks of the season, and honestly, I needed that time off from playing just to like get back in the right mindset. And I think the next time that I hit the field that season was at University of Arkansas. We played a midweek um, at their place on a Wednesday night, and our shortstop Devin Hurdle, 5 minutes before the game, went up to the coaches and said his knee was bugging him, and his knee buckled, and he had to go see the trainer and everything. And they said, "All right, Henry, you're going in at shortstop against Arkansas on a Wednesday night," which they pack that stadium even on midweek games. And so there's fans yelling in our faces as we're running off and on the field. There's You can hear the whole section out in left field yelling at you. Um, I think I blacked out that whole game. But my first at bat at Arkansas, I hit 96-mile-an-hour fastball first pitch right back up the middle for an RBI single. And at that point, we were beating them 1-0. So really, just having that time to just kind of digest and kind of learn from the first like part of the year um, helped me there. But that was definitely the worst slump I've ever been in.
Yeah, I think the crowd noise helped you like get out of
It
your head a little bit to a degree.
it might have. Well, when you're playing in such a big atmosphere, you kind of just like you can't really decide it to think about things. You kind of just like black out. So that whole game, like, I mean, we lost. We got run ruled that game. Um, but like I just remember my single, my RBI single, and then I think I turned one or two double plays, made a couple good plays at shortstop. Um, and like I really didn't have time to think about like all the negative things in my head because I was just like, wow, this atmosphere is crazy and like this is super overwhelming and like it's just baseball. It's at the end of the day, it's just baseball, and there's just more people yelling in the stands and more going on. Um, but yeah, that definitely like that game, I wasn't able to even think about like if I was gonna do bad or not because it was just so chaotic. There's so much noise and just everything going on was just crazy.
Bigger question though, had this monster season at Omaha last year. Before we even dive into it greater, just how did it feel to have the accolades and all the success of last season? Because it was a 5 year run
Hmm.
prior to that. That's your sixth season that you break out in. How did it feel to finally like achieve not just a level of success, but like we talked about, being one of the best statistical hitters in the country? How did that feel?
Yeah, it definitely felt really good to be acknowledged and just kind of like able to. It was just like a weight kind of lifted off my shoulder a little bit. Um, just because like I had been working so hard during the year that like I never really took a breath because I was like I just need to keep going and keep going and keep going and like it's not done, it's not done, it's not over. Um, and for like for our season last year, it was such a roller coaster season for us. I believe we were like 12 and 16 in the Summit League. We came in at number four in the Summit League. Went into the tournament as a number four seed, but we played at home in the Summit League tournament. Um, yeah, it was definitely nice, but it it really kind of sucked at the same time because we weren't doing phenomenal as a team. And so it really made me kind of like step back and be like, hey, like I know I'm contributing, but how can we get more guys on board and kind of be like a 1 through 9, like everyone in the lineup um, contribute and really get like really scrap to get more wins. And so it was definitely nice, but it was kind of like a mentality like this isn't over. The end goal is to win the Summit League and then go to a regional, super regional, and College World Series. Um, so it was nice in the moment, but definitely it's kind of like a job not done, not finished, because the awards came out before we even started the Summit League tournament. It was at the end of the regular season, so I kind of took like one day of just like that day we practiced. I know I walked into the dugout. We were going to practice at our field at Tal Anderson, and I hadn't even known that I got the award. And one of my teammates walked up by me and was like, "What's up, Summit League Player of the Year?" And I was like, "Oh, that's funny. That's funny." And they're like, "No, like actually, they just posted it on Instagram." And I was like, "Oh, cool." And then I had to put my cleats on and practice. So it was kind of like I found out and then we practiced and I had to lock in for practice. And then after practice we did like awards on the softball field and got our like plaques and everything, and that was nice. We also, I mean, we had a lot of other guys on the team that got some really good awards last year, and they contributed quite a lot to our team last year. And thankfully, most of them are back. Tyler Bishop and Jackson Trout, those guys are back. Tanner Furch. Um, so yeah, it was kind of like that day, that night. It was kind of nice to kind of take in and be like, okay, like I'm the Summit League Player of the Year. Like that's pretty cool. Um, but then it was like, all right, well now we got to focus on winning the Summit League tournament. And so it was kind of like the next day, just kind of I got to put that aside. Like that doesn't really matter. And then I was also like maybe like later after we win the Summit League tournament, like we can like revisit this. But then it was like, okay, well, now that our like after we lost, I was like, all right, I need to decide like, am I coming back to Omaha? Like, am I really taking my seventh year of college? And once I ultimately decided to take my seventh year of college, I was like, okay, well now we got to get after this next year. It's a whole new year. This award doesn't really mean anything now. That's 2025, and this is the 2026 season that we're preparing for. So yeah, it was nice, but it was only like probably about 24 hours that I kind of thought about it.
Um, what made Omaha such a special place that returning there was so clearly the best option for you for the seventh year?
I wasn't satisfied with the years that I had at Omaha, and I really want to bring a championship back to Omaha baseball. And thinking about transferring and leaving just kind of didn't feel right. It didn't feel like hey, I got all these accolades. Let me move on. And that just didn't feel right because we didn't get it done. And so coming back was really the only option for me because yeah, I had a good year, but we didn't get it done. And so that's why I was like I need to give everything that I have to get Omaha to a Summit League championship. And like knowing like talking with the coaches and stuff like definitely was like transferring. And I mean I had talked to some of my friends that have um, draft connections and like their agents and things like that, and kind of like what we touched on before, like really like hitting more home runs, stealing more bases, like that would have definitely helped me in the draft. Being old doesn't help me in the draft. So like I definitely would have considered opportunities elsewhere, but nothing really like came through. And transferring was definitely an option, but I didn't want to just go to another school for 1 year for like my last year just to experience it. I've already experienced everything that I needed to experience in college baseball. And I know what to expect at Omaha, and I know what we need to do to win a Summit League championship. And it just didn't feel right. It felt like I was like when I even thought about transferring, it felt like I was a traitor. Like I was gonna like leave something behind, and that I was gonna like sabotage the team. It just didn't feel right. And just like I didn't even know how to like go up to Coach Porter and be like, "Hey, like I think I'm gonna transfer." And I was just like, "No, there's no." And also, I got engaged this summer to my girlfriend who I've been dating for like since we were like 12 years old. We grew up in like the same neighborhood. And so she's here. She's going through her doctorate program in occupational therapy. So she's in Omaha, and it's kind of like there's no reason for me to leave. And I'd be happiest if I stayed here because I know what to expect. I'd be around family. I have all the support in the world.
When you look back at your time at Omaha at the end of this year, what do you want your legacy to be?
Um, just the knowledge of like the knowledge that I've passed down to the younger guys. I don't really care about the Summit League Player of the Year accolades and all of that because that just ends up like that's just another award that somebody will mention 10 years from now and say like, "Oh, Henry Zipay was the 2025 Summit League Player of the Year," and it's like, okay. Um, but yeah, just kind of like leaving a footprint in the Omaha baseball program. I mean, there are guys that are 7 years younger than me that I'm playing with in college, and I've been able to kind of share my experience with them. Um, and who knows where they're gonna end up. Hopefully, a lot of those guys are gonna be good enough to play professionally and stuff, but more importantly, lead Omaha to a higher standard of winning. and really make this program like one to look at in the future. And that's kind of one thing that I hope I leave myself is just kind of passing down the information that I've learned to the younger guys and them passing it to next generation of players at Omaha just to make this program just bigger because Omaha deserves to have a breakout franchise. Like Omaha, like people need to know about Omaha, and we have all the resources in the world, and we haven't been a Division One school for very long, but I really think down the road Omaha is going to be a school where people are going to be like, let's go play there.